Right guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to install a Shimano R8000 Braze on front derailleur to your bike. So I'll go ahead and run through the steps. Right, so here we have the derailleur out of the box. So I'll just run through the adjustments on it and also the mounting bolts. So obviously you've got your mounting bolt there to the hanger on your frame. It's 5mm hex head. Underneath the top cover there, what you can pull off, like so, is a 4mm hex head, which is a pinch bolt. Then you've got, down in the middle there, you can see down in there, there's a 2mm hex head, and that's what goes through and comes out this side there, and what pushes on the tab, what sticks on your frame, the frame tab there. So that's what that one does. That's the one down through the middle. You got the low screw there, 2mm hex head. The high screw on the right, 2mm hex head. Then you've got on the top there, 2mm hex head again, which is the cable tension adjustment there. And what that does, by screwing that in after you've got the cable on, it just adjusts the lines there. Obviously you've got the silver dash there, and then the one there, and basically it brings those two lines together so they're both lined up with each other. That's what that does, by adjusting 2mm hex head there, but we'll get onto that later. So that's basically the adjustments and the mounting bolts covered. Right, one thing I would like to do on these derailleurs before you mount them on the bike is, if you see where the cable goes here, there's no protection, it's just like metal on metal there. So when the cable comes up through there and goes in there, when it's on the bike, that point there, there's not a lot of protection for the cable anywhere in here, as you can see. And there's a flat edge there, which corresponds with one of these cable ends, as you can see there, with the flats on it. So what you can do is, you don't need all of it, you can cut off these ridges here, just cut it down so it's shorter, like so, just the end part, then cut it down and correspond the flat on here with the flat up in there, and then you can just put that up in there. It just adds a bit of extra protection for the cable. Right, there we have it cut down and put in position, as you can see. So ready to go ahead and mount the derailleur onto the frame. Right, so the first job is obviously get your 5mm hex head, remove the mounting bolt, mount your derailleur onto it, put the bolt back in, and then just slide it down until it corresponds with the guide on the side here where the teeth are going to go. So line the teeth up to match that and pinch up your 5mm hex head for now. Once you've got that pinched up, then what you can do is just get your 2mm hex head and obviously put it through the middle of the derailleur there, just to locate, like I said, the tension screw in there, what's going to go through and push on your frame. So obviously then you can wind that screw in. This is just temporary, just wind that screw in to see, and just keep winding it all the way so you can see where your tab's going to be to stick on your frame. Down in there, as you can see, the tab. Obviously I've already stuck the tab on there, but this is just to show you. So wind that through and then you'll see where the tab needs to be stuck. Obviously it's easier if you don't have the rear wheel in, say, to stick the tab on to the frame. So you can go ahead then, once you know where it's going to need to be stuck on, is you can get your tab that looks like this, as you can see there. Now one side's got sticky on it, one side hasn't, so you want the screw coming through and hitting the part where the sticker isn't. So you want to hit it on the opposite side of the sticker, so when you stick it on, it's going to hit this side where the sticker isn't. And as you can see, it's slightly curved. Now if you've got a frame, like a carbon frame, or a bike with a flat seat tube, then to get that a bit flatter shape, you can just put it on the hard surface there and just tap it with a hammer and just hammer it out a bit more flat, so as it sticks to your frame better. Because a lot of more modern frames, they can be flat, obviously, and other frames can have a curved seat tube. It just depends on what you've got, so you can always hammer that to match up with your particular frame. So once you've done that, obviously, like I said, you can stick it on in there, line it up with this screw. Then what you want to do is just back the screw away so it's not touching for the minute. Leave it away from it. That's just to get the sticker there, the tab, put in the right place, so as the screw's not damaging your frame. If you've got a carbon frame, then the screw will just wear through the frame without the tab there. So once you've done that, then we're ready for the next stage. Right, so the next step is just locate your low screw with a 2mm hex head like so, and then what you need to do is get a straight edge, put it on your chain ring like so, and you can see the gap between the cage there and the straight edge coming off the chain ring. There's a gap, so to close that gap so that the front edge here is just touching your straight edge, you want to go ahead and turn your low screw clockwise, and it just brings the cage out this way like so. So you may have to turn it a couple of turns or whatever, depending on where yours is at, and then put your straight edge back on, and then see if it's touching. If it's not, then give it a tweak a bit more until it's making contact with your straight edge. So once you're happy with it, like so, then we're ready for the next step. So next step is you're looking at the rear of the cage here, and you want it inboard of the outer chain ring. So you want the teeth there, you want the cage inboard, so you can just go ahead and just push it with your thumb. Just make sure it's just inboard there of the outer chain ring. So once it is, then you can go ahead and locate your 2mm hex head inside through the derailleur there, what's going to push on the frame tab we stuck on earlier. So you can go ahead, get your 2mm hex head in position, and then wind it in clockwise until your screw touches your frame tab. And then what that'll do is, as it touches, it will just bring the back of the cage round so it's parallel with the outer chain ring, and that just loads up the cage, puts some tension on it. So as you screw it in, brings it round like so. Then all you do then is get your straight edge there and just check that it is parallel by holding your straight edge on there. Just check it. So once you're happy with that, then ready for the next stage. Right, so we've now got a new cable run from the shifter there. So you can go ahead then, once you've put your new cable in, just go ahead and remove the cover on the pinch bolt, like so. Now with these, as you can see there, it moves like so. And that's what it's designed to do, because when you tighten the 2mm up here, when you're tightening that up, it basically, to make the cable tension adjustment, it pushes round like so, which makes the adjustment. But you got to make sure that the silver piece there is touching that centre bit. As you can see, make sure that those two are touching one another at all times. So when you put the new cable in, you can go ahead and slacken off your 4mm at the top. When you slacken that off to run your new cable in underneath it, then you've got to make sure when you tighten the cable up that the silver piece hasn't moved away like so, and it's no longer touching that, because when you make the adjustment it won't be doing anything. So just make sure those two are touching like so. Right, so once you've got your cable in position, go ahead, just wrap the cable around your fingers like so, and then pulling on it, give it tight. Then you can go ahead and snug up your pinch bolt, making sure that at this stage your lever is shifted down to your inner chainring, obviously on your lever, because if it's not, then once it's fitted, then you'll wonder why you're shifting and it's in the wrong place. Make sure the lever's down before you pinch this up with the new cable. Make sure it's shifted down to the inner chainring, and then go ahead, pull on this and pinch up your bolt. Right, so once you snugged your cable up with your pinch bolt like so, making sure they're still touching, then what you can do is you shift up to your outer chainring like so, and then when it's shifted up to the outer chainring, just notch it back one click like so. That's all it is, just one click. It's not down to the inner like so, it's the outer chainring and then just one click. So it hasn't gone down to the inner chainring at all. It's just one click down, that's all it's doing. Then you're ready to, with your 2mm hex head on the cable adjustment there, you've got the two lines there. Now as you can see here, I'll show you, they're already lined up, as you can see. So I don't need to make any adjustment on that at all. I can leave it where it is. If the bigger line at the top there was this way a bit towards the outside by a couple of mil, then obviously you get your adjustment and you turn it clockwise a few turns, and the line, the top line, would move over and match up with the little dash at the bottom there to line them both up. But you might do it like I just have, and they line up straight away anyway, so you don't have to touch it. But if they don't, then you can make the adjustment via the cable adjustment here. That's what it's for. So once you've done that, we're ready for the next step. Right, so the next step is obviously fit your chain back on the bike, shift up to your largest sprocket at the rear, 32, 28, whatever you've got, and then you're on the inner chainring at the front, and then you can check the clearance. Now you want it so, obviously with the low screw, the 2mm hex head, you want it so you see the wear plate, the black wear plate there. So you want it so the chain is literally just passing that, so you can move that anti-clockwise in this case, and you can just let it off so that the cage is going over that way until there's just the tiniest gap between it. It's literally, might as well be touching like a piece of paper's gap between it. That's all you want. And once you're happy with that, we'll move on to the next step. Right, so obviously the next step is shift up to your outer chainring. Just come down a little bit on the cassette, sort of midpoint roughly, and then you can check that you've got enough clearance, because as you come down the rear cassette, the chain's going to come over this way. Obviously you're not going to be up on there because you're cross chaining too much. You've got to start somewhere in the middle and work your way down to the 11 at the back. As you do that, then you can just keep your eye on the gap here just to make sure the chain is not tight against it. Then what you got to do to adjust that is obviously locate your high screw with your 2mm hex head, and then you can adjust it away. But obviously turning it clockwise, it'll bring the cage out this way a bit. You're talking a millimetre, just so you've got the clearance so it's not touching obviously on the inside or the outside of the cage. Just make sure you've got a gap, and it will be the very small gap. When you're on the 11, you're talking a paper's width gap between it. So obviously when you come back up the cassette there, you don't want it so it's touching the inside. You've got to get a happy medium. So just go up and down the cassette there and check the gap. Like I say, find your high screw, and then you can adjust it in and out depending on where you need it. Right, so once you're happy with the high and low adjustments and you've double checked them, then you can go ahead and cut your cable to length. Obviously what it does, it goes round there like so, round the back and underneath there. It just comes up like so, like that, and then thread on your cover. So it's got a larger hole at the back and a smaller hole at the front. So put the larger hole on first, and then you can just slide that down your cable. Once you've got it slid in place there, you've got the round pin sticking down. That goes down the centre of your cable pinch bolt, like so. And then you just snip your cable off and put an end stop on. Right, so there's the cable cut to length. Now obviously if you want to know the torque settings for the bolts, the mounting bolt there is 5 to 7 Newton meters there, and your pinch bolt was 6 to 7 Newton meters. You just like to know what the torque settings were. Right guys, there's the installation complete behind me. Now obviously you'll need a new cable run from your shifter, and you obviously need to remove and refit your chain onto your bike to be able to fit the front derailleur. But other than that, it's very straightforward if you follow the steps. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next video, ride safe and I'll see you then.